Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Lion's Den. It is nearly the weekend. Thank God it's Friday. The week is nearly over for most people, at least. We do have a live stream later for the Zhu Relic from Hero Wars themselves, so I'm sure everyone will tune in for that. But we will get into starter teams. At the beginning, there is a lot of heroes and compositions that just confuse people in general. Magic, pure damage, physical, what supports tanks, damage dealers. There's so much to go on at the beginning, and it's probably the most asked question in the world is, what team should I build? So over this video, we're just going to go over what I think are probably the three best beginner teams. I'm not going to go 100% fully in depth into them. This will be more of a pro cons, what team and where you get their stuff from, basically like soulstones. I already have some priority guides out for the type of teams that I'm showing now, so really you can go check them out afterwards if you choose one of these to go with. So let's start with what personally I think is probably the best beginner team out there. This is a team that I'm using on my purely free-to-play new account that I created like a couple of months ago just to see what everyone got at the beginning and what they could build. And I found this team to be really effective. So for team one, we have something along these lines. You've got Astaroth, Satori, Folio, Polaris, and Faceless. Really, the only hard one out of these to get is Polaris. You can get random offers for her. You can get some events that have her as well, but at the beginning it is a little bit more difficult. There are so many different versions you can do. You can take out Polaris and add, say, a beginner like Lian, very easy to get. Or we have something like Mushy, another pretty easy one to get at the beginning. She's down here somewhere. So something along those lines. They're very easy to get and an easy team to build up from the beginning. You don't have to worry about where to get soulstones from. So where do you get the soulstones from? Very simple. So Astaroth, not in any stores, but is in the campaign. You can do his missions daily, every single day to get his souls, so it's not too bad. Satori is in the shop, in the Highwayman shop with Faceless as well. They're in the same shop, so that's not too bad to get. You get quite a few Highwayman coins, so they're quite easy to bulk up on. Folio is also in a shop, so this one's easy to find. So you've got Folio in this shop with Mushy. You've got Mushy there and Folio here. The Highwayman shop, you've got Satori here and Faceless here. And like I said, Astaroth, you'll just have to go through the campaign. Because if you go through here, you'll see, if you click on the soulstones here, it will show you 4 different missions where you can get your soulstones from. So even from literally the first mission, you'll be able to get his soulstones. So you can do those for your 3 daily special heroic missions that you need to do for a quest. As for fill-ins, so we said about Mushy is a decent one. We also have, I think it's in the Grand Arena shop. Yeah, so we've got Lian in the Grand Arena shop, which isn't too bad. I don't like spending Grand Arena coins on soulstones because you have better things in here, like the runestones are a much better purchase. But if it's just to unlock her and to get her in your team, it's not bad spending the coins to get her there. But yeah, that's why I would say soulstones wise, very easy to get. You can get 7 of these heroes in shops, so very easy to start with, so it's not too bad. So the pluses of this team, as we just explained, we have easy soulstones. Yeah, so something like that. Minus Polaris, all easy soulstones to get from shops. Grinding campaign for Astaroth, so not too bad. It's a very strong team in general. This will keep you going from beginning to basically Endgame. Obviously, you can modify it later on to change things. Astaroth, if we're going by Endgame heroes, Polaris, Astaroth, Folio, Satori, all massive Endgame PvP heroes. Faceless does come in handy in some options, but not as much now. We have Mushy, who is used for massively for Hydra, so you can't go wrong with that. Oh yeah, Faceless is used for that as well. So yeah, overall very balanced team. This will help you do tower, arena, campaign, the adventure for the seasons. You can't go wrong. It will do everything for you. The other option is you could swap Rufus in for Astaroth because you can buy Rufus in another shop. That is down to you personally. I like Astaroth, like I said. I use this team on my brand new account, and so far I have absolutely no problems. I mean, I guess the only really downside at the beginning, Iris and Kayla teams can blow you up quite quickly because you don't really have the support or shields to really protect yourself from them. But I mean, the game is rock, paper, scissors. Sometimes you're going to win to a team, sometimes you're going to lose to a team. There's not really much you can do about it. Nothing protects from everyone. As I said earlier, I'm not going to do like a massive in depth on like priorities for all the heroes because that will take ages. Basically, you want to have a strong Astaroth and a strong Folio. That is basically two at the beginning that you want. I think my team is about 130k at the moment, and Folio and Astaroth take about 100k of that themselves. My Faceless, my Satori, and my Polaris are like 10k each, and the other two are 40. So you just got to prioritize in what do you need. You need a tank, and you need a damage dealer. That's where those two come in. So the kind of little notes to be for this team. Later on, you can swap this team into a very popular team, which is the Judge Julius Isaac team, which is this. Something along those lines. Judge Julius, Isaac, Folio, and Polaris. It works a bit different to the beginning one because the beginning one you're kind of stunning and throwing people back with Faceless. This one is protecting your team with shields, and then Folio and Polaris do the job of the damage basically. This is one of the strongest teams at the moment. I mean, Folio by himself is crazy strong. Polaris is probably one of the best supports for mages at the moment. Very, very helpful. As for other notes, I mean, as you can see, when you change this to Judge Julius Isaac, you're freeing up Astaroth, Satori, Faceless, so you can start building another team straight off of the back of that. So you only need to add two new heroes, like another couple of supports to help Satori, and you have another whole team. Even you could add like the Lars and Krista siblings, and then you've got a whole new team there on top of this one. So that's another bonus of it. Julius, Judge, and Isaac are all in shops. I think Isaac is in a more premium shop, but at Endgame, you'll probably have these unlocked anyway by the time this comes in. If you're going to want to transition to this at the beginning, then you can spend your currency there. I just think in general, Julius isn't as strong as Astaroth at the beginning. Julius just seems to take a lot of damage without proper shields up to protect him. So I mean, that's why personally I go the Astaroth route and then transition into this later. But yeah, that is my team one. That is probably my top one out of the three. So let's go on to the second one. So the second team that we're going to go on to is an Eternity team. At the beginning, Eternity, very, very strong, especially if you get Octavia with Iris. That's kind of the core to this team. There's a lot of plugins that you can do. Eternity has a bunch of different options that you can swap. So it's a bit difficult depending on. But as a core, something along these lines isn't bad. Again, this is mainly down to these all being in a shop. So Corvus, Dante, Iris, Faceless, Octavia are all in shops. There is another version. If you didn't have Faceless, you could put in Tempest, but Tempest is not in a shop, so that's going to be a bit harder. Um, yeah, so that's why we haven't included Tempest. The other version is you can have Morrigan in, which is also, again, very strong. It gives some healing to the team, but normally Iris does all the damage anyway. So you can also have Corvus out completely, and possibly have something along the lines of this. Um, Dante is an okay tank. Again, he's obviously not a proper tank, he's a warrior, so he will take more damage until you put something into him. But Corvus is pretty decently strong at the beginning. The other version you can have is with Nebula, because Nebula will boost Iris when Iris does her damage. So that's also another situation. Something like, yeah, like that. That's what I mean. There's so many different heroes that you can swap in and out to make the team depending on what you want to do. But Soulstone wise, so this I think is a big reason for not having Corvus, is because Corvus is in the dungeon shop. You want the skin stones from this shop. You don't want to waste it on hero soul stones. If you really want Corvus tanking, then I mean feel free to unlock him, but later on you're going to want to get events and use dolls to upgrade his soul stones. I guess the only other downfall to this team would be the fact that Iris and Octavia are both in the Grand Arena, so that's going to cost you not having to buy rune stones or anything like that. You're going to have to buy soul stones for quite a while. But again, this is down to preference on what you want to do yourself. We have Nebula in the Guild Wars shop, which is actually quite easy to get the coins. So, not too bad to plug Nebula into that team, as we saw with Dante, Nebula, Iris, and Octavia. They're a nice little team to go together. Nebula dodges, Dante dodges. It works. And the only other issue with Morrigan is Morrigan is in the Hydra shop. Hydra shop is not that easy at the beginning to get coins for. The only way consistently you can get Hydra coins is by opening the elemental spheres. That's the Titan artifact chest. So that's the problem with that, basically. So yeah, as I said, there are quite a lot of different variations to this team. Um, I can't really say which ones are stronger. I think Dante is fine as a tank, but if you want a solid, proper tank, then obviously go for Corvus. If you want to spend your Hydra coins on Morrigan, maybe just unlock her and don't go above 1 or 2 stars, because you, like I said, you do have events normally every couple of months for every single faction. Like this month, we're having Nature. Then next season we might have Chaos or Eternity, something like that. So you want to save up and then spend where you need to from those events and buy soul stones. The only focus I would say on that is you definitely want to just focus on your tank, which will be either Corvus or Dante, Iris, and then a bit in Octavia, just to keep her alive and make sure that she helps Iris do as much damage as possible. So the pluses for this team is it is a very strong team in general. It will kill 90% of teams. The only issue it has is against Octavia. Octavia counters Iris, and funny enough, Corvus counters Iris as well. Somna will put Iris into a sheep. It's not detrimental to her losing, but it can have quite a big difference in the result. Goose also can outheal Iris's damage, normally anyway. But yeah, overall, very strong team. You're going to be using Corvus, Iris, and Octavia in late game probably to counter heroes. So starting off with them at the beginning, you can't really go wrong. As I said, the only other real downfall is just the fact that a lot of the soul stones are in the more premium shops like Dungeon, Hydra, and Grand Arena, which is unfortunate. But I mean, if you just get the souls done for the summoning, you don't have to push 4, 5, 6 stars. You're better off just building them from 1 or 2 stars and going from there. Stars don't make a massive deal of difference. Artifacts, skins, stuff like that, you're going to get a much better return for. But yeah, so that would be my second team. In general, Eternity, it works well. As long as you've got the core of a tank, Iris, and Octavia, you can't really go wrong. Losing my breath a little bit today. So on to the third and last team. For people that want a physical team, not magic, we have the Caden team, which is going to be something along the lines of this. Probably something along the lines. So we've got Astaroth, Tristan, Kayla, Aiden, and Fafnir. The only problem is you do need normally more than one tank. I mean, Astaroth is going to be your starter tank, so you might as well use him. The other option is Julius. Julius is another great hero for Kayla, giving her some shield when he ults, and giving him some crit chance as well. So, Soulstone-wise, probably the hardest team to get out of because of Kayla and Aiden. Kayla and Aiden are not in any shops. They are only events or dolls, which is a bit of an issue. Astaroth, as we explained earlier, is in campaign. Tristan is in a shop, and Fafnir is in the shop. Let's have a quick look at which ones. So we got Fafnir in the tower shop, and I think, and yeah, Tristan is in the Hero A shop. The Hero A shop, you get the currency from this, from the season pass. So yeah, I mean, that's even more scarce than the others, really. This is probably the rarest one because you only get a limited amount every season. So yeah, so you've got Hero A shop, you've got Tower, Astaroth in the campaign, and then Kayla and Aiden are not in shops. So that's going to be hard for this team, but you might be in a position where you already have them. So this is why we're covering this team. If you did want to do it a different way, you have Rufus again in the shop that can be plugged in for Astaroth, which is another way of doing it. You got to remember that Tristan, if you don't know, he feeds off of energy gain in front of him. So when Astaroth gains energy, Tristan gains energy. And then when Tristan ults, you get armor penetration, which is amazingly useful for Kayla. This is how the team works. There are many variations that you can do with this if you didn't want this one. I mean, if you didn't want to do the Fafnir route, you can do something like this. So you swap out Fafnir for another tank, so Tristan gets more energy gain from both Astaroth and Corvus. This will also help your team. The only difference in this team is Fafnir won't be giving Kayla a shield, so she's a bit more vulnerable to damage. But I'd say, like, basically it's a more aggressive version of the team. Again, you can put Rufus in for Corvus or Astaroth or something like that. You can put in someone like Oya for Astaroth or Corvus. Oya will drag in a person, so maybe someone like this. Not in front of Tristan, but Oya will grab the lowest health, and then it bunches them up a bit for Kayla. So that's how this team works. Bunch them up, Kayla knocks them all down, basically. So the good thing about this team, it is very versatile. You can use a different range of tanks. You can use, like I said, Fafnir or Oya or something like that to change it up. All of these heroes you will probably use in Endgame, so you've basically got a team that you will use throughout. The other good thing is also if you have to build multiple tanks, you can transition later to other teams. Like if you were to put a Julius and an Astaroth in front of Tristan, Julius and Astaroth can go off and make their own team, and then you can add another tank with Tristan and Oya, and you make another team. So that's the good thing. It gives you versatility throughout your teams. You can go off and build whatever you want to do with Astaroth, Rufus, Julius, and then you can keep this team alive with just plugging in another tank. The only problem is it is more investment heavy. You do have to build multiple tanks, so even though it gives you some versatility, you do have to build the tanks to keep them going. You can't have like Astaroth, you can't have, say, something like this, and Julius, say, at 100k, and Astaroth at 20k. You're going to have to spread the resources a bit, which it's not great for the beginning, but as long as it's all in the same team, it's not too bad. Like I said, I think the downside is also that you do have to build multiple tanks. It depends on how you want to see it. It sets you up for later, but at the beginning, you don't have much versatility. It's later on that you're looking for. And as we've already explained, the souls are harder to get. It's as simple as that. They're in more premium or just not in the shops at all. Most of these teams are a little bit susceptible to Iris teams, especially like Corvus Iris teams, because Corvus will most of the time nuke Kayla down instantly. And this is why you want Morrigan, so Kayla doesn't get resurrected by anyone. But I will explain that in a couple of days' time when I go into more depth about these teams and what their counters are. The only other option is you can make a Fafnir team without Kayla and Aiden. You can make something like this. At the beginning, this is probably going to be around about the team you could do. Easier to get. Julius, Astaroth, Tristan, Yasmin, and Fafnir are all easy to get at the beginning. Like I said, Julius is in a bit of a premium, so is Tristan. But if you want to go this route, you don't have to hope for Kayla and Aiden. You can just use Yasmin. Yasmin's in one of the shops, so easier and not a bad team in general. Not as strong, I would say, as Kayla, because Kayla against Yasmin most of the time will nuke her in like 6 seconds. But yeah, this is another variation. Again, you can swap the tanks, you can put in Corvus, Rufus, whatever. Fafnir gives Yasmin the shield and protects her from damage. And Yasmin by herself can absolutely go to town on a team and take them out one by one by one. So this is another option if you don't want to go Kayla and Aiden. You can just go Yasmin. It's not a bad option. So, I think we are basically done. That is my 3-team beginner guide. These are my 3 that I would recommend as the beginner. I did do them in order, so I think the Folio teams are better. I would then probably go for the Eternity teams, and then the third would be the physical Yasmin, Fafnir, or the Kayla Aiden teams. So again, it all depends on what you have at the moment. It depends on what you want to go for in the future. Maybe you just don't like magic, you want to go physical, which is fair enough. Play the game how you want. As I said, I will do a video next week because I'm not going to be on this weekend. My wife is off work, so I'm actually going to spend some time with her for once. So next week, I plan on doing a video each for these teams to include them. So I'm going to go into more specifics on what you should prioritize, what you should look out for not going to attack, like say Kayla into Corvus, counters, stuff like that. So we're going to go into like the generic ones. I may pop in a video about the Zhu relic that's coming out, I think on the 20th, which is like Monday, I think. Something like that. Yeah, it's the 20th that the Zhu relic comes out. I'll be getting a level 10 one. I'll be doing some testing next week as well. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. A lot more damage, but I don't know how relevant it's going to make him. So we'll see. As always, guys and girls, I appreciate the love and support. Like I said, I will be back next week to do more in-depth guides on these 3 teams because these are my starter ones that I think you should go for. If there's any teams that you think should be on the list, feel free to leave a comment and let me know why. If you have any comments about these teams, let me know, and I'll try and answer them either in comments or they might be in my next video about it. But obviously, let me know what you think. Do you agree with these? Do you not? Why don't you agree? Is there a reason? Do you think there's a better team? let me know. I don't mind. I'm all ears to hear if I'm wrong, basically. So yeah, let me know. I will see you next time, guys and girls. Until then, if I don't see you then, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye, people.